On August 10, 2024, it was confirmed a collaboration between Neon Genesis Evangelion and the third-person free-to-play shooter game Nike Goddess of Victory. This collab feels like it came out of nowhere. I mean, Evangelion is a series from the 90s that has gathered a cult following due to its mature themes like the struggles of humanity, existentialism, and the burden of trauma. On the other hand, Nike is a game that is mostly known for, well, let's just say buns. You see, this is not a video ditching on Nike. I know there are a lot of positive things that can be said about the game, but that's not what the focal point is at the moment. Instead, I'm just remarking how bizarre it feels that these two series made a collaboration. And it's not a small collaboration either. There's been a lot of promotion behind it on social media. And that made me wonder, how big is the Evangelion brand actually? Well, it is really difficult to determine how much money the Evangelion series has made throughout the years, as most of the information available online is from almost 20 years ago. There is one report that states that Evangelion has made over $255 million only in merchandising. This report is from 1996, only 1 year after Evangelion's initial release. However, more recent information has shown that the theatrical release of Evangelion 3.0 made $56 million. And in 2021, the sequel, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, set the record for the highest IMAX earning in Japan on opening day. And at the end of its theatrical run, it became the director Hideaki Anno's highest grossing movie of his career, with an earning of $75 million, dethroning Anno's previous highest earning movie, Shin Godzilla. Now that we have an understanding on how big the Evangelion franchise is, it makes more sense why there's such a huge variety of merchandising about it. But is all this merchandising considered in-brand for the series? I mean, in the show, we can see how the main character constantly struggles mentally because despite the fact that he's just a teenager, he's forced to engage in combat with these terrifying creatures. But look, you can buy a llama that is based on the appearance of the Eva that he controls in the show. The thematic whiplash that you see from the Evangelion show and its merchandising is quite drastic. I wouldn't call Evangelion a depressing or pessimistic show. Quite the opposite. I will even go as far as to say that Evangelion is a celebration of life. However, the show tends to be experimental and abstract to portray more philosophical topics. On the other hand, the merchandising feels so out of brand, either because it portrays Evangelion as this cozy show, or because it portrays the characters in such a unique and strange way that you would not see in the show. But the thing with merchandising is that as long as a recognizable character is put in the front of the product, that will be enough to catch the attention of fans of the series. So the question now is, how far can we take a series from its original vision? To answer that question, I'll present to you one of the most bizarre pieces of Evangelion media. Petit Eva, Evangelion at School. What is Petit Eva, Evangelion? Petit Eva, Evangelion at School, also known as Petit Eva, Evangelion at the Sukuru, is an original net animation or ONA, which is basically a web series, something similar to Salad Fingers. Eva Petit is a parody of the original Evangelion series, which uses a 3D chibi style. The original run for this series counted with 24 episodes that are about 1 to 3 minutes long. They are self-contained stories with little to no continuity between episodes. So, what's an episode like? Well, it's really bizarre. It's obvious that this series does not want the viewer to take it too seriously due to its slapstick comedy. The storyline for this show shares no relationship to what actually happens in Neon Genesis Evangelion. In a way, the only aspect that both series share in common is their cast of characters. However, in Eva Petit, there is no world-ending catastrophe. Instead, characters just go to school. The Eva 01, which in the original series is depicted as this combat mech that can go berserk at moment's notice, is portrayed as a student that is not really smart, and their name is Ebancho. Another difference is how Rei and their clones are treated. In Eva Petit, they are just sisters, and each one of them have their own mannerisms and personalities. Eva Petit is such a different take on Evangelion. As such, the premise for each episode is really simple, yet really random. For example, there is one episode where the character Misato is a teacher and she noticed that Shinji is falling asleep in one of her lectures, so she throws a shock at him. But to her surprise, he avoids it. So she proceeds to throw more shocks at him, but he keeps dodging them. And the entire episode is this gag of Misato pulling out ridiculous ways to throw shocks at Shinji just for him to dodge them and ultimately being wake up by Asuka. This is really weird, but that's just how Eva Petit works. There is no logic, there is no reason, there is no dialogue, things just happen. Okay, let's take a look at another episode. Here, the character Gendo, who is also the principal for the school, he's looking over the students that are cleaning one of the classrooms. However, when he closes the door, all the students start messing around, but when he opens the door again, they go back to cleaning. It's a really simple gag. However, there's one really interesting thing about this episode, and that is the fact that there are two layers to this joke. You see, on a later episode, we can see the same scenario, but from Gendo's perspective. And we can see how he's trying to give some flowers to Rei, but he's too ashamed of doing it for some reason. So every time he opens and closes the door, he gets slightly frustrated until he finally breaks out at the end of the episode. Most episodes are just like this. They are random scenarios, really simple gags, and nonsensical plots. And they are really short episodes. You might be able to finish all of them in about half an hour. So there is not much to Petit Eva at first glance. I mean, it's just a parody of Evangelion with really strange sense of humor. However, this series was popular enough to get their own merchandising, from a series of mangas, toys, and even a video game. Merchandising for Petit Eva. Petit Eva received 2 manga volumes. Petit Eva, written and illustrated by Ryosuke Hamamoto, and Petit Eva Bokura Taken Dokokai, written and illustrated by Maki Osoda. These two authors also contributed to the web series, and some of the more notable features like the Ray sisters and Bancho are part of their contributions. Outside of Petit Eva, there is not much known about these individuals. However, the little information that we have is about other works they have done before. Osora created art for the PlayStation 1 game Milano no Arubaito Collection, which is a really interesting game about a girl named Milano who must engage in multiple part-time jobs to get money for her hospitalized mother. This game is both a simulation and minigame collection game, where the player participates in many jobs which are usually minigames in a limited period of time. Something really cool about the game is that there is a calendar system that is reminiscent to games like Harvest Moon and Persona. As such, the player must plan their actions for each day. On the other hand, Hamamoto is mainly known for Petit Eva. However, he has worked on other manga series. One of the most infamous examples is Ultimate Girl, which has been harshly criticized for its humor and really strange objectification of their characters. However, Hamamoto has expressed his fascination for American comics, especially the Scott Pilgrim series. He has even expressed his desire to create American manga. And he also seems passionate about teaching others about art, as in 2020, he released his own book to teach others how to draw in chibi style. Now, Petit Eva received a video game for the Nintendo DS known as Petit Eva Evangelion at Game. This was released exclusively in Japan, however there is an English patch. This is a point-and-click / minigame collection where the player is tasked with multiple challenges revolving around the characters from the series. When you complete a level, you get an item, and if you do good enough in the level, you get an additional item. The minigames utilize the touchscreen of the Nintendo DS, and there are just a few minigames that are repeated throughout the whole game. The first minigame is a point and click where you have to interact with items to trigger special events until you meet a specific requirement. In this minigame, you control the bottom screen while the upper screen has Misato giving you advices. However, Misato, darling, you are not that helpful. The advices that Misato gives you are nonsensical, and it feels like you are interacting with every item until something finally happens. The next minigame is an auto runner where you have to get rid of obstacles that are in the way. This minigame is quite slow, however, it's better than the point and click. The next minigame is one where you have to rearrange cables. It's quite confusing at first, but once you understand how it works, it's actually really fun. And the last minigame is one where you have to make dialogue choices until you fulfill a specific requirement. Overall, this is a really simple and short game. You can finish it in about an hour, and there is no much replay value aside from perfecting every level to get all the items. But one interesting fact about this game is that this is the first time that the character of Marie appears in any Evangelion media aside from trailers. So we can assume that this game was made to promote the upcoming Reveal movies. Lastly, we have two series of collectible toys that were released throughout 2010. Some of them feature characters in special outfits. However, those were not the only toys that were released, as there were also keychains, figurines, and even a collaboration with Rody, a brand of Japanese toys for babies which is well known for their cute horse toys. This collaboration in particular is extremely odd, as it seems to be a limited release. As such, the price for any of these sets can go for over $500 on eBay. So, we have seen the show and its merchandising, but the question now is, why should anyone care about a low-budget web series? Well, there's one last thing that I want to talk about. Passion and creativity. If you recall Ryosuke Hamamoto from the previous section, you should know that he actually traveled to the United States in 2011, and he had his own panel at the KentuckyCon in Sacramento. In an interview made for that convention, he was asked, out of all the characters in his projects, which one was the most fun to work on? His response? Actually, there was this character from Petit Eva, the first Shogoki. I deformed and made Eva01 into a Petit file and called it Evancho. Evancho is pretty much one of my favorite characters. I had fun working on Evancho because it was my first time trying to interpret American-style comic writing into my own character. I was a bit afraid that Gainax or someone else would be mad about designing this character since it was my first time interpreting American-style comic writing. But it worked out, and everybody loved the actual character when it came out in DVD animation. Evancho was also chosen to be a little figurine that came with a DVD, which made me very happy. While information about Petit Eva is scarce, we actually know how the production of the web series was handled. Special videos showcasing the creation were publicly published as special episodes for the series. And the behind-the-scenes footage for Petit Eva is fascinating. Most episodes were recreated first in live action, with animators recording themselves to sketch ideas for each episode. We can see how they used these homemade recordings as a reference for the animation, replicating camera angles, choreographies, and even facial expressions. These behind the scenes also give us a better look at rough storyboards and sketches, and it's extremely interesting how these elements evolve until they reach the final stage of production. For how bizarre this series might be, it is evident that there was a lot of planning and care put into it. And watching the behind the scenes, I can see a group of individuals that are having fun and putting all their efforts into this project. Now, don't get me wrong. Every project is made with some sort of passion put into it. It's extremely rare to see a product that is made with no love. And just because a product is made by passionate individuals, that does not excuse its flaws. But Petit Eva is a project that took some major risks during production. It's a series that is so out of touch from the original vision, yet it's a product that came from a group of amateurs that came together to create something unique and special. Neon Genesis Evangelion was Hideaki Anno's personal project. In this anime, we see both the worst and best of the author. Most of the elements in the show were made to depict Anno's struggle with depression during some of his worst years. The original vision for the series could only be conceived by Anno during this moment of his life, and it's quite incredible how inspiring this story has been for so many people. You might think that I'm overthinking the purpose behind Petit Eva. Perhaps this is just one of many tactics that the Evangelion brand has used to promote the sale of merchandising. And it is true. There's not a lot of artistic merit that can be attributed to Petit Eva. However, there is one important lesson that we can learn from it, and that is to let our creativity flow. Even if our ideas might be random and nonsensical, if we are sparked by the creative flame, we should listen to it and create new things. Especially in this era where creativity is promoted less, where there is uncertainty about artificial intelligence, and where most products are created to promote an ideology. In these times, everyone should engage in any form of art. Either that is drawing, composing music, writing stories, or even making videos. Petit Eva is a reminder of that, a series that challenged many preconceived ideas and resulted in one of the most unique and bizarre pieces of media. Thanks for making it this far into the video. I hope you enjoy it, and if that's the case, you should consider leaving a like and a comment. If you're looking for more content like this, you should also consider subscribing and sharing the video with your friends, as that keeps me motivated to create new videos. You can also follow me on social media. I have a Twitter where I post updates on videos and other projects. And I am also an aspiring game developer. So if you want to check any of my games, you can go to my itch.io page. With that said, thanks once again for watching my video, and until next time.